Hi, my name is Marlene Franco and I'm with Gardening the Organic Way. Today we're going to show you how to build a raised bed in order for you to plant your vegetables at a higher density and get more production within that giving space. Our bed's going to be 20 foot long by 5 feet wide and about approximately a foot high. And we'll look forward for you joining us. Since I'm building a 5 foot wide bed, I bought a 10-foot plank and I'm going to cut it in half. And this will serve as the actual sides or the actual ends on each side. Before you start cutting or handling any kind of tools, make sure you're wearing proper safety eyeglasses and make sure you have good gloves on. It's really important. It's a really good idea to start out with really good tools. And in this case, I happen to have 2 drills, and one for pre-drilling and the other one is to actually drill in the actual screws. Just makes it a little faster, or you can switch back and forth. This is the brackets that are going to hold the bed in place, and I'm going to anchor one side. I'm going to put 2 right here, one on each end more or less, and then I'm going to pre-drill the holes and put the screws in. The screws that I'm using, I recommend using outdoor screws, and ideally 1.5 inch, 1 3/4, no longer than that. These 2 brackets will be placed right here, and they would anchor both planks together to make one 20-foot long bed. As we said before, we need to pre-drill. It makes it that much easier for you to be able to get your screws in. So I'm going ahead and I'm pre-drilling the holes. But see how much easier it's if you have 2 of them, you don't have to go back and forth, back and forth. Now that I have all the planks ready to go and they have the proper brackets on them, I am ready to take it into the garden bed where it's actually going to be located and assemble it there, do the final assembly there. This way, I don't have to carry a huge bed that's too heavy to carry, even 2 people, but I'm actually going to go ahead and assemble it in the garden itself since it's 20 foot long. This is the area where we're going to place the bed, and I need to make sure that it's leveled to the degree that it's from one side it's going to be the same height as the other end. And I'm going to do it in one section at a time, and then once both sections are level, then I'll anchor the actual middle pieces together and we'll be ready to go. If it was 10 foot and I wanted to have one bed higher than the other, then I would close it off and then I can have one that's a little bit lower, almost like in layers. But in this case, because we're having all one solid bed, I do prefer to have it level so that it looks better. Okay, we're almost done here. I'm putting in this one corner over here. It's looking pretty finished. I just got another corner to do and then the whole bed will be done. At that point, we'll be able to start the leveling process a little bit and, just to kind of get it just set just right. But it's looking pretty good and it's pretty solid. This bed built this way should last you a good 8 to 10 years easily before probably, the wood may begin to rot a little bit. But I have some beds that I put in approximately 6 to 7 years ago and the wood still looks fantastic. This is not pressure treated wood. This is very important to make a note of here. This is plain pine. You can use cedar. Cedar will last a lot longer, but we chose to use just pine. Do not use pressure treated wood of any sort. Okay, now I'm ready to join the last 2 pieces. This is the 2 10-footers together with the brackets. And I'm just gonna make sure that it's totally leveled. And then I'm ready to drill. Okay. All right, so I use the, hammer just to angle it just right. And this way, one person, if you're alone, you can do this. I mean, it's a little more difficult, but there's no reason why it can't be done by one person. It's just that you have to do it in stages and you have to take your time. The bed is perfectly leveled and I checked all the corners and it's in very good shape. But now I have this gap here in the middle, since both ends are leveled out. I'm going to bring some soil down just to kind of fill it in and level it out a little bit on the inside. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a mesh underneath to prevent any critters from coming in, like groundhogs or any other kind of animal to come in from the bottom. Okay, I make sure that I'm getting all the weeds on the outside, because the root system from these weeds will definitely creep themselves back into the bed. And then once I do that and the bed is leveled, I'm ready to start filling it in. All right, I weeded the bed inside, and I actually weeded about 1 foot all the way around the bed. Make sure I got it nice and leveled. And now I'm ready to put this mesh up. And the reason I'm putting this up is so that consequently I can keep critters out, like groundhogs, from coming in. I'm going to anchor it all the way on the sides. We'll overlap it a little bit, and then I'll be ready to start filling in with some topsoil and compost. Right now we're doing it just 9.5 inches, which is the standard how the wood comes. They tell you 10 inches, but not really. And next year you have the option of putting in another 10 inches on top. Right now this is pretty good. I mean, I would say that you can get away with most vegetables doing fantastic. If you make it higher, the advantages is that big vegetables like tomatoes that have a lot of root system, or some of the other large root crops like carrots and all that, will have a lot more room to grow. And that's the biggest advantage of having 2 layers. You don't even have to put a full 9-inch layer, but I would recommend another layer next year. Do one bed that's deeper and another bed that's more shallow if you want. Okay, it's best to have a whole truckload delivered of compost rather than try to buy it by the bag. It'll cost almost 3 times as much. So I strongly recommend that you just have the compost delivered, which is nice, black, and ready to go. Okay, I'm filling it in all the way to the brim, and the reason is because if I don't, once it rains, the soil is so fluffy that it's going to settle a couple of inches. So by bringing it right up to the brim, then I know that I'm okay, and it'll be just right for planting. There you have it. I have 2 beds built, and this one over here on the left, it got built about 2 weeks ago, and we planted it with a fall crop. And all the things have germinated, or some of the transplants were brought in. And this one's ready to go. It's almost filled to the top. You leave it maybe 1 inch to 2 inches below the top level, and you're ready to go. For more information, go to gardeningtheorganicway.com, look at my blog, or you can check us out in YouTube on the Gardening the Organic Way. Marlene Franco, and thank you.